listening to the Successful Mind Podcast.
Successful people learn how to make their minds work for them. I'm David Nagel, and this is the Successful Mind Podcast. Episode of the Successful Mind Podcast. I have a very special guest in the house today, Dr. Vincent Bubolo. Let me tell you a little bit about him. I don't typically read these things, as you all know, but I'm going to read this one because I don't want to miss anything. Dr. Vincent Bubolo has over 23 years of experience as a business owner, consultant, and entrepreneur. He has owned, operated, and created several successful multi-million-dollar businesses while partnering and consulting with numerous business owners. Dr. Bubolo's companies include various industries, including medical, e-commerce, litigation, and medical funding, real estate, consulting, and more. Many of these companies generate monthly revenues over $1 million. With this experience and Dr. Bubolo's inherent understanding of business, he remains passionate about helping individuals and companies thrive in an ever-evolving marketplace. He is relentless regarding positive customer service, patient care, and profitability so that his companies, employees, partners, and communities can thrive. His genuine approach is extended and seen through the fund he and his family started and have committed to personally donating more than $100,000 every year. This commitment to giving back is reflected in their active participation, sponsorships, and personal donations to various community organizations, churches, and charitable events. We Pay It Forward encapsulates and continues pursuit of knowledge and dedication to positively impacting individuals and communities. I got it done. I'm impressed. I really got that. How you doing, man?
Good. I'm doing great, actually.
Good to see you.
Great to see you as well.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
We were talking before we started recording about your journey. From when we met, we kind of came into each other's lives, and I believe that was in an Artist Success seminar.
It was 2018, I think. 2018.
Yeah. Can you give everybody like the 50,000 foot view of where you were then versus now, and what your kind of outlook for the future is?
Yeah. So where I was then, much smaller. We had good businesses. We were doing well, but still living in that scared mentality where we were afraid we would expand very incrementally, but still doing okay. So when we started with you, everything started to change. The biggest thing I got from being involved with your organization is I started to think differently. I'd had multiple consultants throughout the year that showed me how to make the widget. But when I got involved with you, it was, how do you believe the widget should look, and what do you believe can happen with the widget, not just how to make it? Yeah. So that was a huge turning point for us. Like I said, it was about 6 years ago. So from that point, again, we have multiple companies. Each one of the companies is close to 6 to 7 times what it was back then. So we've had substantial growth in each one of them. And it's also looking forward, now that we've really gotten things under control, grown incrementally, the potential for what's going on with the companies is outstanding. We're super excited about the future. For the first time ever, I'm happy. I'm loving the process. I'm not afraid of the process. I'm more encouraged and excited about the process, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell everybody what your company actually does, because I would love for people to hear this. Because part of having you on here is also to spread your message and what you're doing. And I think that it's enlightening, to say the least. And it's fantastic for the buyer and the education of the individual who is seeking their own health care and taking charge of it.
So for years, we noticed the benefits that patients were having in through our treatment. So we offer lifestyle meds, which is weight loss, hormones, aesthetics. And we kept noticing people coming off their blood pressure medicine. Their cholesterol medicine would either be reduced or completely avoided. People were losing great weight. All of these side effects were happening that was benefiting their health, not just their weight. So we started to look at it and said, what can we do that will help the patient as a whole? Like how can we get more access, give the patient more access to care? And we noticed that some people couldn't always afford the full care. So we took a step back and we said, what if we were able to offer health care to patients at cost? So what we've done now, our mission,
which is like unheard of, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you think about everything that you hear about healthcare, it's always about price. Everything's going up, what it costs the person. People can't afford it. The amount that it costs them to actually have insurance, what it provides, what it doesn't provide. And they literally make life and death decisions based on that money, which is bizarre when you think that that's where we are in life.
The number one reason for bankruptcy in the United States is medical bills.
Jeez.
That's insane.
Yeah, that is insane.
So we looked at that and we said, okay, can we create a membership program and deliver basic healthcare services to patients that are actually going to get them better? We're actually taking a proactive approach. The system right now is reactive. When you get sick, you call your doctor. What we're doing is taking a look at patients and say, how do we prevent you from being sick or get you better from where you are, but then prevent you from getting sick again? So we looked at the model. We offer general practice, behavioral health, all medications, and lifestyle meds, all at cost. We're offering a $99 membership a month, and then all of those go to cost. The markup on medication is insane. Like there's statins that are available for $800. We looked at it, we pay $80. So now we're passing that savings off to a patient. So general practice, instead of paying $150 or $125, we offer that for $20. We offer virtual care. We're trying to allow access or allow the patient to have access to real healthcare, not what they can afford, but actually what they need. We're making it way more affordable for the patient. So we've launched it a few months ago and we've had great responses from the patients.
So when you think about that, the idea that a person would be able to get these medications at cost, and when you hear the difference in what they would actually pay, $800 versus $80, when they actually do have to do traditional medicine and they're paying the $800, where's that money getting absorbed at?
So absorbed, a lot of times the insurance companies will pay a portion of it, but then the patient is left holding the bag.
With the rest.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know there's Medicare benefits for pharmaceuticals, but they don't always cover. And there's 30 million people without health insurance in this country. And then there's a huge portion of patients that have awful insurance, that have deductibles that are insane, or they only pay a portion, or the insurance companies are constantly fighting not to pay. Their job is not to pay for claims. Their job is to figure out
how to get out of it.
So, we were tired of seeing patients only electing the care they could afford, not really the care that they fully needed.
Yeah. And it's also reactive care, right? Like they're coming in just trying to treat a problem instead of trying to get a solution for their own health.
Absolutely. And we've created care coordinators. So every time a patient comes in, they're assigned to one individual throughout their entire relationship with us as a go-to. Hey, how are my visits coming? When's my next visit? There's no delay in communication or miscommunications between providers. Everything, that they're your quarterback for care. And they're also meeting with the doctors and then recommending care plans for you forward to how to eliminate medication, lifestyle changes, all the things that keep us healthy. Instead of just being reactive, we're trying to be proactive in their care.
Yeah. And what is the obligation on your part with them? Like, what kind of a contract are they signing? Is this a year contract, a monthly?
Yeah, so it's a year at $99, and then it goes month to month.
And then it goes month to month after
we
that.
hope we earn your trust and really deliver value in that $99 that you're with us for good. Because anytime you have a cold or a flu, you can call us virtually. We can prescribe. We can send medications to the house, all at cost. We're just a pass-through when it comes to any of the expenses in healthcare blood work. Come to one of our facilities. Normally it's $200 to $400, something like $64 for us. So now that's exactly what we charge the patient. So we're exposing the cost of healthcare ultimately.
Yeah, well, I would say so. I mean, that's how the patients, when they see the difference in what they would pay in a traditional plan versus coming and working with you, what's their reaction to that?
Elation. They're super happy that we're able to offer this. Some of our existing patients will say, why didn't you offer this to me earlier?
Yeah.
We didn't have it.
Right.
We just developed it. So we haven't seen the pushback like, holy cow, why are other people charging me this? They've been more happy. Like, we are so thankful that we have, and you wouldn't believe I couldn't get into my doctor for 3 weeks. We're same day.
It's crazy to try to get in to see the doctor. 3 weeks is a good, that's good. I mean, I hear people months. My brother was telling me he had to go in because he tore his slight tear in his meniscus 6 months to get in to see the doctor.
That's insane.
Yeah.
And it's not even the doctor's fault. They're working with the best they can with the payment system. The payment system is so broken. It's one of the country's worst situations we have right now as far as healthcare goes. And we're trying to one, make the nation healthier. We want to have a national brand. We're setting up locations all over Atlanta right now. That's where I live, and that's where we're starting the process. But we want them in every single state so people have access to this. So we want to give people more access. We want to save them money, but we also want to get people healthier.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we don't want to just be a normal GP. Call us when you need us. We'll give you better care. No, we want you to eliminate the need for doctors as much as possible.
And medications.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So if somebody wanted to find out more about you and what you do, where do we send them?
So Bubolo.care.
Bubolo.care. And we'll put that, Brad, also in the drop down or whatever, right?
Okay. Yeah, that is the main website now. It's Bubolo.care. We've put everything up on e-commerce. So now you actually see what a non-member would pay and what a member would pay. So all of our services are online now. So you can actually see what things cost.
Okay. And right now you're primarily in Atlanta?
Yep. Atlanta.
But your plan is to go out from there, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we want to create 10 locations in Atlanta, just smaller hubs that people can stop in, get their blood drawn, still do their weight loss program, still do their hormones for weigh-ins, injections, that kind of stuff. We've found and seen that there's a huge push for virtual, which we think is great. But what's lost is the customer service. You lose that human touch. So we still want to be able to love on people, give people the results they need or want, and just kill them with customer service, love on them. They're coming in vulnerable because they're suffering from something.
Right.
So it doesn't always translate through the internet. So we wanted to create boutique clinics so people could still be loved on and still see people face to face.
Right.
We believe in automation and that kind of stuff, but not too much. We believe that the human touch has been taken away from things too much.
Yeah.
So we think it's a great opportunity to reposition the love back on patients instead of just the automation.
And you were talking about the e-commerce side of it. There seems to be a lot of these popping up. Mm-hmm. And they're selling various different health kits and things that you can get. A lot of stuff that was kind of demonized during COVID, with the ivermectin and, that type of stuff. And the interesting thing about it is that when I see those things, on one hand, I think to myself, this is great that people can make these choices and they don't have somebody standing as a gatekeeper as much. I mean, there's still a gatekeeper there, obviously,
sure, but
they have more freedom in being to do it. But they also don't have the relationship
and the advice
they did, and
they don't always know yet. Sometimes you just answer a few questions and then you're sent the medication.
Right.
And sometimes that's fine for some people. If that's good enough for you, just continue to do it that way. But sometimes people want the support, especially if they're dealing with something that they can't figure out. A lot of the onlines, like the hymns and the Romans, are very specific conditions. We want to be able to offer it to every aspect. And we also want to be able to educate the patient. We want to be able to help them through this process. Not everybody just wants a handful of pills.
Yeah, so they can make better decisions.
Absolutely. Well, they want solutions at the end of the day. There's cancer, diabetes, heart disease. There's so much of that's preventable if you're making the right lifestyle choices. So we're not fully natural or anything like that. We'll use medications, but we use them as a temporary solution while you're fixing your problem.
Right.
Yeah. And there are some people that are on medications forever that need them. And we're definitely on board with that. We want to be able to help them save money on those medications that they may need forever.
Yeah. I forget who it was I was listening to, but this was just within the last couple of days. It might have been Rogan. I'm not sure. But they were saying that what's really interesting, and I've heard several people mention this, that the information that's coming out from the government or the medical authority, so to speak, within the country has literally removed the idea of like exercise from as part of the equation to get healthy.
Insane.
Right? And
it's crazy.
And they talk about, here's the things that cause cancer and heart disease and diabetes, and you need to change these specific things, but nothing on the list is actually healthy. It's all medication related.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
where do you think that's coming from?
Yeah, well, I know.
Yeah.
And I heard, the other thing that I heard, and it was actually, I was talking to Steph about this earlier today. This came up in a conversation with another client, that there's literally this idea being promoted right now that if you're overweight, you cannot lose weight without medication. Like, it's impossible to actually do. And then they point you to one of these medications that are out there that, so it's interesting. And like, it's a very interesting way that they're programming society to buy and to be hooked on these things. And none of it, I shouldn't say none of it, that's an exaggeration, because I don't know the answer to that. But what it appears to be is that it's not a way for them to get off medicine. It's a way for them to stay on it forever for one reason after another.
Well, that is ultimately their goal when it comes to, and we're not anti-medication at all. We're not, we're not, because a lot of it's necessary. And I do believe it's like, let's take weight loss. You say no one can lose weight without medication. That's absolutely not true, as we both know. But there are some people that absolutely need it.
They benefit from it, sure.
Absolutely. And I think some of the medications now that are out are fantastic. These semaglutides and those kinds of things are changing the game. They're changing life expectancy at this point. But I saw an interview with one of the CEOs of the major pharmaceutical companies, and he said, our goal is to have these people on it for life because we don't want them to come off and gain the weight again. And I said, well, you don't need the medication for that. I think it's a great starting point. Let's get to our goal, but then let's change our lifestyle. And it's really changing the habits. Like, you can talk about addiction and that kind of stuff. You have to change your people, places, and things. Same thing with food. If you watch TV and grab a bucket of popcorn, you've got to change what you do. You got to grab something else. You've got to change. Maybe if you have meetings at restaurants and you always eat over meetings, maybe you meet over by taking a walk or something like that. You have to clone yourself to the same kind of things that people do that are skinny. Just like with alcohol,
right?
You've got to remove yourself. If you show up to the barbershop enough times, you're going to get a haircut. You can't keep going to bars for meetings and expect not to drink.
Yeah, definitely. If you go to the barber enough, you're going to get a haircut. There's no question. Environment plays a giant role in everything. In everything,
and even in business. I mean, from what you've taught me so many times, it's really it's how you think, what you think you're capable of. I was on my way here, and my wife and I were sitting down. Or I was on my way last night, booking a hotel, And I was looking at the hotels. They're decent rates. There's a suite, and then there's a presidential suite, and it was like $2,300 or something like that. I was like, I don't know if I should get it. My wife goes, "What would Nagel say?" I said, "All right, get it." You always taught me. I don't know if you remember the car story, but forever, I lived in abundance in experience and that kind of stuff, but I would always have a little bit of a cheap side to me. Like I bought my son this beautiful car. I bought my wife, and you said to me, does everybody deserve a new car except you? So he's like, go out and buy that car. And I don't know if you remember what I bought, but it was
Tell everybody what you bought.
I bought a Lamborghini Huracan. Yeah. And the instant I bought it, it changed my state. Like it changed, like it put that hustle in you, and you deserve certain things. I tell this story and I get two schools of thought from it. Like my kids have never flown in coach because I believe really creating the mentality of I deserve to be in first class. I will never settle for less.
Right.
And that's the way we live. And you helped me understand that. You don't live irresponsibly. You don't get yourself in crazy debt, but you also treat yourself, and you make as much money as you believe you deserve to make.
Yes.
Period.
Yes. And that's what people are actually making, and they don't know it. They don't know that they've been highly programmed to earn what they're earning in life, that most people have not actually picked the financial amount that they need to live the life that they would truly love to live. They've settled.
You know what? One of the most powerful things you ever showed me was the, I believe it's poverty, need, and wealth line.
Yeah, the financial set point.
Holy cow. It's so true. It's so true. We earn as much as we need, what our bills are. And when we go down a little bit, something kicks in and it goes right back up to that need line. We lose a job, we hustle, we get that money to pay our bills. But conversely, once we start to do really well, we self-sabotage and go right back down to that need line until you figure out how to get that need line up to where you deserve more. Yeah. And you have to raise that line, and therefore you demand more.
Yeah. It's really bizarre when you actually see it. Like you can explain it to somebody, but when they actually see it either in their behavior or they're witnessing it in somebody else's behavior, people will be doing really well, and all of a sudden something will show up in their life. Their mind will agree with whatever the story is around it, and the behavior begins to change, and they come right down. And I'm not a weight loss expert or anything like that, but I would imagine that's exactly the way that it works.
Absolutely.
There also, because a person weighs what they think they deserve to weigh. That like there is a model in our mind for everything in our life that says this is what normal is for me. And if that's never challenged, then you only have the awareness of that normality, meaning our awareness changes based on the ideas that we think about, right? So we get an idea, we think about an idea, we start to conceive of what that idea could mean in our life. And if we keep playing with it, we will come to a higher level of awareness. Yep. But most people shut down ideas before they even get to them.
Absolutely.
They will not even tolerate or let them in. Yep. You talk about change to some people are like, I don't do that.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work. I wasn't raised that way. Mm-hmm. That's hokey baloney or what. Like they have a set pat answer for why this is not something I'm going to accept in my life. And with those individuals, there's virtually nothing that you can do with them.
And a big component, which you talk about a lot, is being a victim.
Yeah.
This is the way it is because this is what the world has done to me. So I can't change this. I've already tried it too many times. When you start to take responsibility, and you then also encourage learning and change, like, okay, this is on me, so I can change what I'm doing and get whatever I want. That's a huge tipping point for people. But if it's always about the external environment doing it to you, you'll never change that. So you'll never change at all. If you're not willing to change and you think you can change everything around you, there will be no change until you're ready to change yourself.
Yeah.
Because then it doesn't matter what happens out there as long as you're changing yourself.
What was the edge point for you in making changes, right? Where you said enough is enough. I am going to do something different. I'm going to refocus.
It was always it's never enough for me. I have an insatiable appetite for everything, good and bad.
Yeah.
But I was always thirsting for more, and it was like an urgency to succeed so you don't fail, if that makes sense.
Yes.
The change that I've made over the last few years, ever since we started with you, is now I want more as excitement. It's not that I need it, it's that I want it. And it's not coming from a scarcity mentality. It's coming from what can we create and who can we help in the process? What difference can we make? So that came from a security and a calmness that, I think the definition you gave me of the true definition of wealth is being able to create money, anything at any time you want it. And not being scared of losing anything. Like part of what the project that we're launching now, we're taking huge risk. We're opening locations everywhere we can. But you know what? If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. We'll make it back. We'll figure it out. Yeah. It's not going to kill us.
Right.
And before I started with you, it was always like, well, what if we fail? And I would do this push-pull thing. I'd start and then pull back as soon as I get scared. We have a bad month in collections. It's not going to work. Just pull back.
I remember you would get really freaked out. Like when something would go wrong, we'd be on the phone. You're like, this didn't come in. What are you telling me? It's already here. Remember?
Yep, absolutely. And now it's just keep going. The consistency of the pushing has made all the difference in the world. The fear is, it's still there. But it's not controlling me anymore.
That's the point.
Yeah. So that has been a huge difference. And it just, when I started with you, it just started to open my mind up. I started thinking different. The books, the classes, everything I've done with you has just changed my entire life drastically.
Yeah. Well, you said something like with the car story. I kind of want to reiterate that for everybody. It's interesting because we're raised with this value of do everything for everybody else, but not for yourself. Or put them first and then you take care of yourself. But when you put everybody first your whole life, you never get around to you, right?
Sure.
Well, if you do get around to you, you're freaking exhausted and, you're not gonna do it. And it's not just that idea, but it's the consequence of that idea that I think keeps people locked in there. Like, you're a selfish bastard if you put yourself first. If you do something for you before you do it for your wife and your kids or whatever, and there's an honor in the sacrificial lamb of it, right? Sure. Like, I would do anything for anybody before I would do it for me. I'm going to take care of everybody first. But you're always left with the short end of the stick. And what the result is that people start getting less and less of you over time. You're not getting the best of yourself because you're not growing. You don't even know what the best of yourself actually is. And if you look around the world, that belief keeps billions of people completely stuck at the very same level. You've heard me say this before. Everybody on the planet has the same amount of money. Yep. And people have a very difficult time when I say that. And I try to explain, I say, look at it like this. Every dollar you or anybody else on the planet is ever going to earn is already in the hands of somebody else. So the wealth is there for everybody in its potential. Awareness is what brings that dollar from somebody else's hand to your hand. And that's based on teaching, conditioning, awareness,
belief,
your self-esteem, self-worth.
Yep.
So if you teach anybody that anywhere in the world, they can understand that all the money going from one person to another is a value for value trade. And you can then make yourself something of value in order to be able to make that exchange with somebody, and it moves into your hand. But we live with this idea that there's not enough. Like, there's a shortage of everything.
Yeah.
So when people are raised in extreme poverty, it never occurs to them that the same money that they see other people make, that they may have even demonized in a way, because we get that message also, the rich assholes and that type of thing, that they're trying to keep us down and all of that, that the same money is there for them The only difference is that they're not aware of it and the people that are earning money are.
Yep. You know what people also they don't even ask for it.
No.
And they don't, like, you should demand your worth, or at least ask for it. Like I have employees that, you know, they won't even ask for a raise that they think they deserve. I recently was asked by a private equity group to sit as CEO for a company, and they offered me a certain amount of money, and I didn't really want to do it. And I asked for double, and they said, yeah, okay. I was like, uh-oh. I was consulting. I remember when I started with you, I was doing consulting for doctors all over the country, and I charged a certain amount. And I'll tell you, it was $24,000 a year. And I started with you, and you charge six figures, right?
Yeah.
So I said, well, shit, if David can ask for it, I'm going to ask for it. And I didn't really want to continue to consult. So I said, I'll just put $100,000 ticket on it. Nobody will sign up.
Yeah.
First three guys wrote checks. I was like, all you have to do is ask for it. You have to ask for it.
That's it.
Yeah.
People don't realize that. And it's interesting because you can give them examples. You could say, look at homeless people. They ask in one way or another all day long. And people just give. And there's not a perception. There's not a conscious perception of a value exchange there, but there is a value exchange that takes place in that situation.
Yeah.
But if you use that example, somebody will say, I'm not begging for money. Are you telling me that I have to beg for money? I tell you, I don't know if I ever told you this story. Back around 2009, I was doing an event called Experience the Reality of Success. We used to do it a couple of times a year in Vegas. And there was, we had 300 people in the room sitting at rounds. Okay. So that right in front of my stage, there was a round of people. And there were two women sitting right next to each other in there. So we go through the event. They sit right next to each other. They're having the same conversations at the table. The one woman decides that she's going to work with me, becomes a millionaire in 7 months. Okay. The other woman goes back to Australia and literally writes a negative article about the whole event, saying that I had them go on the street and beg for money, which was absolutely not true. We used to do it. We used to do this. We still do on occasion. I'll take private clients out to do this exercise. But the exercise is based on the idea, do you have the ability to give money away without any strings attached emotionally? Can you receive without any strings attached emotionally? That's what the exercise is. It's not about begging for money. But the perception, right, between two people sitting right next to each other in the same environment, in the same event, hearing the same exact message, one person walks away, they're a millionaire in 7 months, and now they have a multi-million-dollar business. And the other person, as far as I know, last I heard, is still stuck in the idea of why they cannot do it, and it's just an evil, corrupt thing. So
everybody doing it to them.
Everybody's doing it to them.
They have no accountability. It has nothing to do with what they are doing. It's everybody else. And that's where you get stuck. You know, it like you say, it's perception. And it's always amazing to me that you have people that are stuck in a place, and then you have these huge hitters like the Elon Musk of the world. Everything he goes for is huge. And he's, you know, I was hearing stories about the stress he used to go over just to meet payroll every once in a while for Tesla. And you're like, what do you mean? He's stressed like us? Absolutely. But he just keeps going. He's willing to take those chances. And that's another thing that I've gained is I'm willing to risk more. I'm willing to be comfortable being uncomfortable, like getting out of my comfort zone. I'm taking these chances and not sabotaging them right before I actually pull the trigger. Like I'm following through. And even because like I said, even if it doesn't work out, it's going to be okay.
Exactly.
It's always going to be okay.
Exactly. And the universe will give you whatever you ask. Like you talk about Musk or any of those guys that are playing a really huge game.
That's the key right there. Sorry to interrupt.
What's that?
You've got to increase the game you play. You've got to play a bigger game, period.
Yep. Yeah. The hardest question that anybody will ever answer is, what do I really want? You know, like I'm always telling people, they're like, well, how can you help me? Here, I have this problem. I have this problem. The first thing I ask them is, what do you want? And they can't answer the damn question because they don't know. And not only do they not consciously know, but they've been given the message their whole life, you can't have what you want. So in their head, when you ask that question, it's jumbled. And they're looking for something to say it's okay to actually want. And because nothing is fulfilling their heart's desire, they don't know what it is to pick. But it is the question. If you answer that question, you can have whatever you want.
Absolutely. And we went through exercise of visualization. That's so important to see what you've got to start with the end in mind, or else you're just running around in circles at the end of the day.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I couldn't be happier for you with what you're doing. And I'm really super excited about getting that message out there to people of an alternative way to be able to look at their healthcare from the perspective of financially, what can they do with it?
Yeah.
Because my whole life, when I would hear about problems with family, it was always astounding to me that people would make medical decisions based on whether or not they actually had the money versus what they needed. I had an uncle who, he happened to be the guy that was driving the boat when I got stuck through the dam in that story.
Yeah.
Many years later, he was dying of cancer, and there was a chance that they could have turned it around if he'd have went to one of these private cancer places that does all different kinds of therapy and stuff. And he wouldn't do it because of what it costs. And I said, I'll pay for it.
Yeah.
And they turned it down, and he died within like 3 months after that. And it came down to, I'm not going to spend that much money. I don't have that much longer to live. And I was thinking, it's so bizarre to watch somebody actually think that way about their life or the quality of their life. But people do it every day.
And it's crazy. You have to make that choice.
It's crazy that you have to make that choice. That here's things that are available, but because you don't have the bucks in your hand, you can't do it.
Yeah. And it amazes me. I see like Amazon just bought One Medical. What they do is offer general practice, but we're doing it a different way, same day appointments. And I said, maybe they've got it. It's still the same thing. It's still the reactive care. It's still call us when you're sick. We'll just get you in quicker. Nothing really changed at all.
Right.
So we've got to start to look at things differently. We've tried to reverse that. You pay so much a month for healthcare premiums, and then you pay a little bit when you use it. We want you to pay a little bit and then pay a little bit more if you actually need it.
Yeah.
So that we want to do the opposite.
That seems much more fair and economical for the average person.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that how we do basically everything else in our life?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Well, man, thank you very much for coming in and doing this. I couldn't be happier for you and what's happening, and I wish you all the best.
I appreciate it. Great to be here, and it's great to see you.
Awesome, man. Thanks.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks for listening to the Successful Mind Podcast. If you like what you heard and you want to learn more, go to lifeisnowinc.com. I'll see you next week.